Nikola Tesla famously said that if you want to understand the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. And if you spent any time in the law of attraction space, you've probably heard things like raise your vibration, become an energetic match for what you want, your vibration creates your reality. And those ideas, they sound profound in a book or a podcast, but what do they actually mean on a Monday morning when a client pulls out or an unexpected bill lands? Or when you wake up anxious for absolutely no reason? What does raise your vibration actually mean then? Because that's where most people get stuck. They understand these ideas conceptually, applying them when life doesn't go as planned is the difficult part. But that changes today because once you understand the missing piece, it's surprisingly simple. Now, what most people get wrong and why they stay stuck is that they have the order of reality creation completely backwards. Most people, they focus on the physical change. They're thinking about the money, the relationship, the business, whatever it is, and then they tell themselves, when I get that thing, then I'll feel good. Like when the money comes, then I'll feel secure. When the relationship shows up, then I'll feel loved. They're trying to extract a feeling from a physical outcome. And that is the incorrect order of reality creation. Because most people, they assume the physical world is where creation begins. But if you look really closely, you'll be able to see that every physical creation, it begins in the mind first. So everything you see in the physical world around you, it originated in the mental plane first. I mean, think about it. Let's say airplanes, for example. Before anyone flew in one, someone had to imagine it. Like it really had to exist in someone's mind before it could exist in the physical world. That's the order of reality creation. Mental first, physical second. Which means your circumstances are not creating your internal state. Your internal state is creating your circumstances. So when you keep looking at your situation and saying that I feel lack, I see lack, and I believe in lack, you keep generating more of that in your reality. Because whatever you hold internally is what gets reflected externally. The external world is just a mirror of what's already running inside of you. The feeling doesn't come after, it's always supposed to come first. Now, how this actually looks like when it is running against you is that, let's say something goes wrong. For example, let's say money is tight or a plan that you were very clear upon falls apart, and the moment it happens, you feel it, like you feel that contraction in your chest, that low state of worry that just follows you everywhere. Now that feeling, it becomes a signal, and your brain, it starts organizing your entire perception around that signal. Like what you notice, what you overlook, what seems possible, what feels out of reach. You basically start seeing more evidence of things not working, which makes the feeling heavier, which filters your perception further, which brings more evidence of the same. And then you look at your situation and you think, of course I feel this way. Look at what's happening around me. But your circumstances are not driving the loop. The signal inside of you is. So your circumstances, they're just confirming a vibration that's already running. And because that vibration keeps producing the same external reflection, you stay stuck in the same loop. The only way out is not to fix what's outside, it's to change what's running inside first. Now this is where most people get frustrated, because changing the signal, it sounds very simple, but when you're actually in it, it doesn't feel simple at all. And I know this firsthand because I've been exactly there. There was a period in my life where I understood all of this and I could even explain it, and obviously I had seen it work, I had real results from it, and then almost without me noticing, it just stopped working for me. Like results, they just dried up. Not immediately in a dramatic sense, but quietly, gradually things just stopped moving. And the most confusing part for me was that nothing had changed in what I knew. I understood the framework, I could have explained it to someone else right there in that moment, but knowing it was not doing anything for me. Nothing was shifting, and I eventually realized why. It's because your nervous system doesn't care about what you know, it responds to what you repeatedly feel. And when you've been running a signal of low-grade anxiety or quiet scarcity for long enough, that becomes the baseline. That becomes what normal feels like in your body. So even when you sit down to, let's say, visualize or do your affirmations or do any of those things, there is an undercurrent running underneath all of it, that quiet tightness that says that what about this or what about that. That undercurrent, that is your actual vibration, not the words that you're saying, not the thoughts you're trying to think. It's the feeling underneath all of it. Now here's how that finally clicked for me. I stopped trying to think my way out of it. I stopped trying to add more techniques on top of a signal that wasn't right, and I focused on one thing, which was actually shifting what I was feeling in my body consistently before anything else. Not performing a shift, creating one. And I'll come back to exactly how I made that shift, but first I want to show you what happened once I did. Because a while ago, two things happened back to back. First, a client payment that was agreed, confirmed, essentially done, it just didn't come through. Last minute the client pulled out, and that was a significant amount of money I'd been counting on at that time. And then within days of that, my accountant called and he said there was an unexpected company expense that had to be paid. No flexibility, no delay, it had to be settled. Two hits back to back, and I remember sitting with both the pieces of information, and something in me just decided, not in a forced positive thinking kind of way, not pretending it wasn't real, because the expense was real, the missing payment was real, my accountant was real, he was on the phone telling me we had to pay. But I made a decision that I was not going to let these circumstances rewrite my internal state. I acknowledged what was there, and then I chose not to feed it. I stayed in my work, I stayed present, I didn't spiral into what this means about me or my business or my future. And just within a few days, my accountant calls me again and he says that the government has introduced a new policy. That same company expense, it was being reduced by, I think, 70 or 80%. I did not negotiate that, I didn't figure it out, I didn't hustle my way out to that outcome. I just didn't let the circumstance pull me into a lower signal, and reality reorganized. Now, I'm not telling you that every time you stay calm, the government will introduce a policy in your favor. That's not the point. The point is, when you don't let circumstances drag your vibration down, you stay open, you stay clear, you keep perceiving and you keep acting from a place of possibility rather than survival. And that changes everything that follows. Now, I also want to show you exactly why your vibration has this much power over what shows up in your life, because this is not just philosophy. Your brain has something which is known as the RAS, Reticular Activating System. Don't have to pay attention to the name as much to what it does. It acts as a filter. So out of millions of pieces of information your brain could pay attention to at any point of time, it decides what gets through. And the filter by which it decides is set by your dominant internal state. So when your vibration is logged into lack, is logged onto what's not working or what might go wrong and what hasn't happened yet, your brain is just literally filtering out evidence of everything else. Opportunities that exist, solutions that are available, people who could help, not because those things aren't there, it's because your signal is just not tuned to them. And when you shift your vibration, when you genuinely shift the emotional signal you're broadcasting, the filter changes. You start perceiving things you couldn't see before. You start taking different actions and you start getting different results. This is not mystical, this is just how the brain is built. Your vibration, it doesn't change how you feel, it literally changes what you're able to see. And what you're able to see, it determines what you're able to create. That's not a metaphor, that's the mechanism behind why your vibration creates your reality. So now the obvious question is, if your vibration is creating your reality, how do you actually shift it? There's a very simple practice for it, which I call the grateful flow, which I've already talked about before. And how it works is, so every morning, before you check your phone, before you look at messages, before the whole world reaches at you, you sit down with a notebook and a pen and you write 10 things you're genuinely grateful for. And genuinely is the whole point, because this is not like a mechanical list that you're writing just to tick a box that you did that work. The feeling is what matters. Now, one thing that makes the feeling real is adding the word because after every line. Not just I'm grateful for my health, but I'm grateful for my health because it means I can show up fully for everything I'm doing right now. Not just I'm grateful for people around, but I'm grateful for the people around me because they remind me that life is actually great. When you add the word because, you stop thinking about gratitude and you start actually feeling it. And that feeling, that genuine shift in your chest, that's the signal changing. Now, why this is working through everything we've just covered is because most people, when they wake up, within seconds, the mind is already running the old program. Like it's scanning for problems, it's replaying yesterday or the week before, it's thinking about what isn't working in their life. The feedback loop, it just kicks in before you've made a single conscious choice. The grateful flow, it interrupts that right at the start before the old pattern takes over. Now, since you understand why your vibration creates your reality, not as a concept, but as a mechanism, the next step is understanding how manifestation itself works through the lens of neuroscience. That video is linked in the description down below and on your screen, and I'll see you there.